Hello there, everyone. This is SoulSaver17 here, and let me be fair, like usual. I don't own this picture, and I don't own this picture, and this is not paid video. All right, okay. So this picture I'm only gonna use for the picture of the snake in this. All right, and just to let you guys know, two characters are gonna be added to the series that will be in Japan. You're not gonna know their names until they meet. But alright, so I tried to record this afternoon before I went to work, so that way when I'm at work I can upload this and then I can work on a new part. Like, what if Naruto got Sansa's powers, or and all that. So I was gonna try and work on a couple of old ones, and then with a new one. But the new ones I haven't made part 2 to. So yeah. But it hasn't happened. So my apologies for anyone who really wants them. Just some stuff is getting in the way. College work and me watching YouTube. So that way then I can work on this because I'm waiting for my parents to sleep or be out. So yeah. But anyways, I remember where we were in the last part. So this is what if Deku was saved by Lucifer, part 2. Alright. So Deku goes up to Go. He basically tells her this: Mom, I need to tell you something. And Go looks at him very confused. She goes, Oh, honey, what do you need to tell me? As he says, it's about that day, the day I jumped and came back to the life, and She goes, yeah, the day your quirk activated and such. He goes, yeah, that's the thing. It's not a quirk. She goes, huh? Honey, you have power, so much of it. Of course it's a quirk. He goes, yeah, making fire, able to bend the wind and earth and everything else to your advantage. Basically able to read people's minds, read people's emotions, be able to convince people that you are always right, have perfect memory of everything, and basically have wings, the glowing red eyes, able to even probably summon out, I don't know, do whatever I need to. Yeah, that can all be done in one quirk. She says, true. Okay, tell me. As she explains to her about Lucifer and, everything that happened. She doesn't really believe him. And then Lucifer says, the only way we could is if I take over. Deku says, alright. And so he goes, alright, if you don't believe me, Mom, then I'll just have him take over. Since he is on vacation, he's just here just to watch me. So, yeah. Enjoy it. Talking to him as he basically Lucifer he closes his eyes and Lucifer starts to take over. The horns grow longer. I say they were littler than the picture, I think. So they get a little bit longer, the actual size, and the way they look, that's the way they actually look now. And his nails get a little bit long, just a little, as she's feeling uneasy. As his voice even changed, he goes, Miss Midoriya, I am real. As he told you, I am Lucifer, the king of hell. I am here because as he said, am on vacation and watching him. See, I have made no deal with him, no contract. The day he dies, he goes to heaven or hell. It all is up to him. How he uses my power is up to him. But since he wants to become a hero so badly, I want to see what he can do with my powers. And no, before you ask, I do not live inside his head. I'm like a spirit that's right next to him, that only he can see. But you should know that all this power he has is all mine, and yet is not. As she's generally confused, as she's about to ask, what does he mean? He then just says, I basically copy my power, my abilities, everything of me. even though I was, or I mean, even if I am the king of hell, I am still an angel, a fallen one to be precise. As basically, like I said in the video, he was an angel and then cast down to hell. That's it. That's all I took from the, you know, from the last video. That's all how I could work it. So, yeah. And he says, so he even has all those abilities, which is quite vast. And added on to the status of the King of Hell abilities, he is the strongest human being out here. But he also gained some of my appearance, such as my good looks, and the horns and the nails, even my hair. As she nods in utter shock, as he then says, also, there's a girl coming here, or should I say, a 22-year-old woman named Emily. She is an old friend of mine. You see, I have contacts all around the world that he can use. They are or were my contracts, or favors. I do something for them, and then they do something for me later on. So, to be noted, all of them have done one thing or another, was good or bad, with the deals I have made with them. It all is up to them. After I make the deal, then they do what they need. It's not. I have nothing to do with the aftermath. As she nods in understanding, and he doesn't say to her, "Oh, and be mindful of her. She's very hot-tempered." The last time I saw her, I don't know if that's cooled down a little. So she just Inko says, "All right." As then they heard a knock on the door. So Lucifer, basically was sitting down when he was explaining everything to Inko. As he gets up and walks over to the door and opens it, and then there's Emily, a girl with blonde hair, silver eyes, leather jacket, jeans, and freaking black army boots. It's at the doors, and also ripped jeans. As basically Luna says, "Emily, my dear, it's a long time no see. How have you been?" And she says, "Lucifer," and they hug. She goes, "It's been too long. 8, 10 years maybe? I thought it was 7. And hell, everything goes fast." She goes, "Yeah." So, how's, everything going on with you? He goes, "Oh, took a vacation. Decided to watch this kid become the #1 hero. Or watch him be for 4 years of his school year and then let him do the rest by himself without my help or advice." And she goes, "Contract?" He goes, "No, actually. No handshake, no contract, just simple helping out as my own goodwill." I mean, the devil can't always make a deal and expect everything to come out the way he needs. So, I simply invest in something. And she goes, "Okay, what's the catch with it?" He goes, "Well, the condition was to tell everyone that I am not evil. I do not make humanity do what they do. The evil that they do is not my fault. It's mostly theirs. And they cannot blame me. But creatures of man will not listen, and they'll still blame me, but I will have at least some people to question everything. So, I can deal with that." As Emma just snickers, because he always did hate that. He just says, "Of course, why would someone like to be blamed for everything for a millennium and not want anything done with it if he has the chance?" And she goes, "True." So, I got my measuring tape, I got my 3 suitcases for pants, and one's with pants and one's with shirts, and other one's with accessories. So let's get this, measuring for his hero costume, and tell me, what would you want him to have? As he then thinks about it, he goes, I shall let Izuku tell you." As she goes, "Alright," so Izuku, comes back in control, as she's, measuring him. measuring the way he looks. I mean, not the way he looks, measuring his arm length and, just taking measurements. As he then, she asks, okay, so what do you want your suit to be? Your hero costume. As he goes, light and yet durable. Easy to be taken any hits from, very flexible, comfortable, and maybe a jacket? She asks, trench coat? He goes, yeah, that'll do. She goes, alright. So she takes all the measurements, she writes them all down, and says she'll, figure it out. She can get in contact with the UA and talk to the principal about it. So, since, she is a part of the underworld, it would be kind of a shock to hear this. So he may come by and ask you, and, well, just, you'll figure out something. You are clever when it comes to using that silver ton of yours. As Deku says, that's Lucifer, not me. She says, oh, if you have his power, you got that silver ton. Trust me, that is your most deadliest weapon. Seriously, he has gone out more situations with that, not with just by talking, than with bare fists. And it has been very surprising for me. As he goes, huh, did not know that. She goes, well, you don't know a lot about him. Yet I do. I've been with him for about, almost a year. And then, yeah, it was almost a year. We were, not co-workers. He was teaching me the ways that I need to be for my business. As Deku says, oh yeah, you're kind of on the black market, give out information and such, not on people's, on identities, just information on them. Nothing personal, just, basic information that could lead to, them doing something really bad or something. And she goes, yeah. And plus, I also make weapons, clothing, as you can see. She opens up the two briefcase, accessories, and armor, anything. As Inko goes, so how do you make all this? Then Emily says, oh, well, you see, my family used to be in the mafia. Well, used to be because now they're all behind jail, and I'm not part of the mafia, so I made my own business. It was supposed to be just a good, honest business, but, I mean, when your family is a mafia, you kind of just go down the way of on the black market and all that. I sell it down the black market, so, I do have a normal shop, which everyone does, and that's like the side business. Someone orders from me, on the dark web, and then I, give it to them. But I do tell, my customers, I do not help out with anything that involves hurting others or making them disappear. That is, I don't find no one for you for that. You gotta do it yourself. As, she's telling Deku just to look at the clothing. They all have certain... Well, all of them have the one aspect that you're gonna need. Basically, defense for holy weapons. As he goes, huh, are they really that dangerous? And she goes, for you? Yes. Well, for you specifically, really not so much. A normal holy weapon, it's poisonous to a regular demon. But for you, it needs to take a lot more than that. But still, you are technically Lucifer. The only power you just don't have is to make the deals. So, in all reality, you can be killed by them. If a fallen angel, is able to use a holy weapon. There aren't that many that can, but still. So, Emily, just lays out all the clothing, like the shirts and the pants. And Deku's looking at all of them. He says, wow, they're very durable and light. And because he's she can just feel it, and So she goes, yeah, these are all the storage ones I had whenever Lucifer, came by once in a while. Oh, wait, can you guys give me a minute? Alright, I'm back. Sorry. So, yeah, she says, whenever he came by, and he just, as Deku says, I'll take them all. She goes, good choice. And let's say he has a couple of black shirts, a couple of white shirts, some long sleeves. And the pants are some that's ripped, some that's just regular jeans, some that are black jeans. Yeah, so that's it. They have some weird designs on them. As, Inko does ask, do you work by yourself? And she goes, no, I have these little imps, goblins, creatures. I mean, there's a name for them specifically. As Lucifer does take back over real quick and says, these creatures are gonna have like a weird name, so I'm just gonna make it up. Zarax. Lucifer says they're called Zarax. They're a hybrid between goblins and imps. They're very good at mining and building and forging. They helped you out plenty, didn't they? She goes, yeah, they helped. They even figure out how to build firearms. As Inko's kind of a little bit worried, and she goes, oh, don't worry. I have non-lethal ones. She goes, huh? I am part of a business on the black market, but I don't condone killing. I usually am just for helping out heroes, some villains that need protection, really. It's like they need like some weapons not to kill someone. It's just, I mostly do that. As Lush says, because of that, some villains actually gave up their crimes. And Nicholas going like, wow. Yes, evil is a necessity to life, but Emily here is a necessity to all. So, people who harm her don't really have a good way of going out. As Inko doesn't want to ask why, but she's kind of a little bit worried. He goes, oh, that's because of me. If anyone harms my friend, as he walks over to her and puts his hand on her shoulder, he says, they will never see the light of day again. And I'm always making sure that she's always protected. So, yeah. As he bows to Emily and says, it's great to see you once again, Emily. Now, if you excuse me, I have to take a rest. Or should I say, I have to get ready. Yeah, he says he has to get ready for, rest. And then Deku takes back over, the horns shrink, the eyes they glow a little bit red. They stop, and the nails get a little bit shorter. As basically, he's asked about the accessories he can look at as she opens up the final suitcase, and right away, he finds a chain that looks like a snake. And he just thinks, can I manipulate this and turn this into a real snake? Let's test it out. As Deku's eyes start to glow, Inko was going like, what? As then even his hand starting to have like this little bit of orange electricity going around it. As Emily goes, oh my god, he's gonna test it out. As Inko goes, what's wrong? As Emily just says, he's gonna bend the material in the actual chain itself that looks like a snake to actually become a real snake. And though it may be real, it would not be able to eat anything. Sorry, everyone. So as Deku does that, he turns the snake. I mean, he does not turn the snake. He turns the chain that looks like a snake into the snake. Yeah, he turns it into the snake. So he goes, pretty cool. As Lucifer says, this could be a good host for me. It's been a while since I actually did turn myself to this. It's been a while since I actually possessed something. As he gets an evil grin, and then he does possess the snake. So that way he could talk to Izuku. So besides telepathically. So yes, as the snake looks at Zuko, he then can hears Lucifer's voice coming out of it. As Emily goes, figured he would do that. He doesn't like to stay out of the show for too long. As he goes, hey, I may be a hog for the spotlight, but at least I tried something different. She goes, yeah. Alright, Zuko, can you pick out the rest of your stuff? As he nods. So, Zuko picks out maybe another necklace, and then some more earrings. I mean, 2 more earrings, plus a arm bracelet, another arm bracelet for his other arm, and another one for his left arm, and some wristbands. Well, not wristbands, some chains. Yeah. And she asks if that's it, and he goes, yep. And she goes, alright. So she closes up the suitcases, and she does tell them, well, I'll be on my way. I'll have your hero suit done and let Principal Nezu there know. So yeah. So she leaves. Lucifer, stops possessing the snake, and he says, Zerb, you seem to be getting very used to the power right now. Just don't overdo it. Your body's still, just getting used to that power of being a king. The angel power seems to be stabilized inside of you. That is it. Right now. As Deku nods. As he looks at his mom and tells her he's gonna go to bed, she goes, alright, Zuko, night. As, basically he sleeps. A couple of days pass, and again knock on the door. Deku says he'll go answer it as he gets up from the couch, and then goes to the door, and he opens it, and he looks down as he sees a mouse. As the mouse says, hello there, I'm Principal Nezu of UA High School. You are Izuka Midoriya. As he nods, saying, yes, I am. Why is the principal of UA want to see me? And he goes, oh, well, I decided on this. To give you, as he gives him a necklace. As Izuku has a snake around him, as Nezu is kind of a little bit scared. He goes, oh, don't worry, he doesn't eat nothing. As he goes, huh? He goes, Quark changed the material in a chain that looks like a snake into an actual real snake, but the only thing is it cannot eat anything. So yeah, you don't have to worry. As he goes, oh, thank God. Whew, animal instincts there was kicking in, but alright. As Deku takes the necklace, and he goes, so what's this for? He goes, oh, I decided to give you a scholarship since your points were very, very high for a normal, well, for a person with a quirk that seems to be so strong. But it seems like there's more, so I'm giving you full access to the school's facilities, including the ones that only 4-year students are supposed to go to, seniors. As he goes, huh? Because my quirk is so powerful and different, you want to figure it out and get to a better understanding of it. As he nods, and he thinks to himself, how did he know? As Deku says, I can read your mind, plus I can already figure this out already. Want to come in, or you're too busy? As Nezu says, I would very much like to come in, but I do got some paperwork I gotta do. As he nods. And then Deku asks, so, Emily contacted you, in which then she explained some stuff. As he nods, she says, Miss Emily did contact us. She has worked with some heroes and some people that are on the black market looking for her materials to use. Weapons mostly. To do some harm, but she does work mostly with heroes. And she has a very, very weird way of working with us, so I allowed her to make your hero costume. As she said she already had it done, and I already saw it. As he says, let me guess, trench coat, black shirt, black vest, fingerless leather gloves. As he goes, how did you know? He goes, I just figured. And also black jeans that are ripped, and boots that may or may not have a freaking knife in it. As Nezu laughs and goes, yes, we have already checked it out, and it seems to be very unique materials used in the fabric. So we are not questioning it. So, but anyways, goodbye, Izuku. See you at school. As Nezu leaves, Deku thinks to himself, huh, I wonder how Bakugou's doing. As Lucifer does, tell him he has been checking up on him. Bakugou Katsuki has been very, very frightened by what happened to you, Izuku. He's not in the right state of mind, nor is he the same boy as you remember him. He's not arrogant, he's more cautious. He won't go all out now. If you fight him, he will be so weak, he won't even be a challenge. As Deku kind of thinks to himself, as what he's thinking is, he's blaming himself for what happened to me. That guy's an idiot, really. It's when the whole entire school did it. And life. He just was one part of it. He started it, though. But people added on to that fire. But he did it more than them. As Deku is kind of confused on how to feel. As Lucifer says, let your emotions take over when you see him. If you ever to fight, then let them talk. Just don't think. As Deku says, alright, I understand. So, he just goes back in, and Inko asks who was that. He says, oh, that was Principal Nezu. He gave me a scholarship. As Inko drops whatever was in her hand, say like a fork, as her mouth drops, as she goes, my baby got a scholarship. My baby got a scholarship. As she runs over and hugs him, and he goes, Mom, don't embarrass me. Lucifer's watching. As Lucifer's just laughing. As Lucifer, basically tells him, goes, you should be grateful for your mother. She cares about you so much. Are you glad you should be glad I really did bring you back. As he goes, I know, Lucifer, I know. And Mom just says, we're gonna have a special dinner for you tonight. And he just goes, oh, we don't need it. It's alright. It's just that you're happy, that's all that matters. And she goes, my little baby boy is being all grown up. As he goes, yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna call Kagome and Melissa or text them. As basically he grabs his phone by just teleporting it. No, he teleports his phone into his hand. As his mom is just saying, how many powers do you have, or abilities? He goes, way too many. I'm really am stronger than All Might, Mom. She goes, oh, we're gonna have to test this out. I want to see this. As basically goes, Mom, no. She goes, please. He goes, fine. We're gonna have to go to Deku Beach at night time though. So, he calls up Kagome and, Melissa, as turns out they're together. Oh, he doesn't call them exactly the same time. He calls one because I'm making it like they're together, they're talking. As he tells them he got a scholarship, he got it in, and that he's gonna be training a little bit and even studying just in case for anything that comes up. They tell them that they applied to UA after the 5th month that they were with him. Last time they saw each other, and that they, got into UA. As he has it's like the study course, the support course, or the hero course. As they say hero course, but we're not gonna say which class. As he goes, alright, understandable. But if I am in a different class than you, there'll be probably some other girls that would look at me with, like what the way you two do, as they both say, if they do, they're dead. As he goes, oh, you two jealous? They just both say, no, we're not. And he goes, unknown girl you're jealous of. That's very cute. As I go, Izuku Midoriya, don't flirt with us like that. He goes, or tease us, flirt or tease. And he goes, fine, I won't. You're just missing out on a lot of things. As they say, Izuku! As then he hangs up. He goes like, I really need to stop teasing them. It's so much fun. I can't help it. As we go over to Melissa and Kagome, as when he hung up, as they just say, he's gonna get it later. But right now, we gotta, work on our hero costumes. So yeah. So after that happens, they go. After all of that, him training for about until like Monday. Deku, wakes up, he gets dressed, changes, all that. Gets dressed, eats, tells his mom he's gonna go out as this. I even forgot. Nezu Nezu told, not told, Nezu called up Izuku, told him about he could bring over the snake with him since technically he made it with his quirk, so he can bring the snake with him. As he goes, cool. So yeah, he has the snake on him, now. And Nico's been very impressed with the snake. The snake has actually helped her out with cleaning certain areas, and also been helping out with certain things, besides cleaning all that, help wash the dishes or something, and or moving stuff around. So yeah, give me a minute, guys. Alright, guys, I'm back. So anyways, Deku has it around his, it's on his shoulders, goes, then snake body goes on his shoulders, on his chest, and around his neck, and then, the head's just sitting on his basic, right shoulder. So, as, she says goodbye to Midoriya, bye to Deku, and, past the snake and saying, be careful with, he named it Lucifer, and Lucifer, does say, "Aw, you named the snake after me. Thank you." As when he did, Deku was like, "Really, really?" He goes, "Yes, I did. I did have to do that." As he goes, "God, what am I gonna do if you, Lucifer?" He goes like, "Nothing. You can't do nothing. I'm the king." He goes, "Yeah, you may be the king down there, but up here, you're just another guy." He goes, "No, I'm the king in general. You cannot harm me." As Deku then proceeds to, he just proceeds to, oh, okay. And then, boom, he hits Lucifer right across the head. He goes like, "Hey!" So, they decided to name it Lucifer that day, and Eiko just laughing. Because it just seems like, even though she cannot see Lucifer, it's more like, Deku interaction with him. It just seems really funny. And she just tells him and Deku to be safe. As they both say, though, she can only hear Deku as they say, "We will." So yeah. So Deku goes outside, and then he just says, "Teleport, teleport." And then, boom, teleports over to school. And he goes, "That was easy." He goes, "Yeah." So after that, he sees reporters. He just says, "I'm not dealing with this. Can I fly or can I go invisible?" As Lucifer says, "Oh, you can go invisible." He goes, "Yes!" And he just goes invisible and passes the people, walks onto the fence, or should I say the wall, and then goes on around the gate, down the wall and into the field, and turns invisible, and, walks right to class. He goes to class, he finds a map to the classroom, to class 1A, and then he just follows the direction where I gave it, and then, he gets there. He's the first one there, so he has like a couple of books on him. So he does advanced math that goes into science. So he's just like when he picks out a seat next to the window, he pulls it out and just starts reading. Say 20 minutes later, Principal Aizawa, not Principal, Mr. Aizawa walks in. As he goes, huh? There's a student here already? Ugh. Can you just be quiet? And then Deku says, Mr. Aizawa, also known as a Razorhead. Your quirk, able to erase a person's quirk, hence the name Razorhead. As he goes, you didn't even look at me. He goes like, the sound of your voice is kind of a obvious tone to it that you work mostly at night, and a Razorhead only works at night along with other people. And as I can see with the outfit you wear, it's suitable to say that the scarf is also a necessary to help you with your quirk. As Owen goes, huh, smart kid. He goes, I know I am smart, but I am still learning. So please, do not praise me. I do not want it. As he goes, and humble. Alright. What about your power? He goes like, oh, that. I have too much of it, and I prefer not to overuse it. So, I don't like showing off. Because if I show off too much of my power, then I basically may be able to destroy a whole entire city or continent. Who knows? As everyone just thinks to himself, is this kid that cocky? He was like, oh, no. I don't really know how strong I am. There has never been an opponent that could, or should I say, there has never been anyone that could challenge me as such. As Alan goes like, how did you? I was like, oh, I can read your mind, and I hear your thoughts, so it kind of helps. He goes, all right. As Deku just asked him to come over to where he is, and he asks him how much sleep does he get. He goes, not really much. As Deku just pokes him on the shoulder, and Aizawa is fully jolted awake. Like, he doesn't look tired no more. He's like full of energy, and he's like, huh, how did you do that? He was like, oh, I kind of just made your body think it got the necessary time it needed to sleep to, be this much awake. You have till I say around 4 something to have this much energy, and then you have to take a nap for about 3 to 4 hours, and then you'll be good. So, yeah. As he thanks Deku for that, and he goes, no problem. So when, Aizawa, just kind of goes back in his sleeping bag, though, because he says he has nothing to do, so he's just going to take a quick nap, real quick, and Deku just says, well, I did jolt you up to make you fully awake, but you are true. There isn't much to do. So, yeah. So he does that, and he does tell Deku before he, goes in, after he gets into his sleeping bag. So, like I said, be quiet when, I'm here, but if someone talks to you, talk to them, don't be rude. As he, goes laying down and starts to sleep. So, yeah. So, after a few minutes of waiting, a couple of people do join. Kirishima, he has All Might's quirk. One for all. And, Uraraka comes in, she thanks him for helping him. He says no problem. Ida, Momo, Todoroki, amongst others, Mina, Suyu. Oh yeah, Invisible Girl and Mineta are not in this because Kigome and Melissa, take them over, their places. Yeah. So Deku then notices, feels two presence that he knows, that he grins. As basically Uraraka does, asks why is he grinning, as he goes, oh, just 2 girls and a guy I know is coming over. As basically when Bakugou opens up the door, he sees Deku. As basically Deku just looking at him with a little bit of a grin. He goes, oh, Bakugou, hi. As, he kind of tilts his head and has his eyes closed when he said it, and Bakugou's like, hey, Deku, I mean, Zuko, how have you been? And he goes, fine, you? He goes, good. I'm good. Um, you know, I'll leave you alone. As Bucko puts his, gets in his seat like a cannon, but he doesn't put his feet up. He puts down his head, and he's just thinking to himself, "Why? Why is he here? Why? 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 Why?" As Deku's thinking to himself, "Man, he really does blame himself a lot. I feel the most guilt. I feel so much guilt from him. It's like overwhelming." As anyway, he goes, "Wait a minute." I goes, "Wait a minute, Melissa Kagome. How did you guys get into Hero Course?" As they basically explained that they trained really hard, like really hard, because they were behind on training, so they had to go to some extreme lengths, and they've been sore ever since then. As he just says, "Come here, you two." As they both walk over, they sit down in the seats like right near him. As basically he kind of just stands up and puts his hand on their shoulders, and all of a sudden, a glowing light comes off of his hand, and they're healed. As they, "Wow, we feel as good as new." He goes like, "Yeah, just don't overdo it. There was a couple of broken bones in you, Emily, including your, not Emily, Melissa. Sorry, I'm getting names confused. Too many names I'm gonna have to remember. Actually, wait, I'm gonna have to make him meet the Zero in the next part. So yeah." Okay, so yeah, as he tells Melissa, there was a couple of broken nerves and maybe a few fractures in your bone because of the energy output you were putting out. And she goes, "Wow, I didn't know." He goes, "Yeah, if you'd done too much of it, it would have basically made you feel a lot more." Well, I'm talking about not broken, but more like fractures. So it would have broke your bones if you do too much. As then he tells Kagome, saying, "Your body temperature was being too cold, as you overdid to where you might have almost got frostbite." And yet, that was during the combat portion of the exam. And she goes, "Yeah, I freeze over a couple, like 3 to 12 blocks of city, so I got like more points that way." And yeah, I nearly froze to death. As he just goes, "You need to try to work on that coldness. Your quirk is very powerful, but you guys said you both said your quirks were no good, and here you guys are." As they go, like, "Yeah, don't judge us." And he goes, "I'm just happy." As they blush, as Deku like kind of looks up as he sees all the girls in his class kind of looking at him with a little bit of blush to them, and he goes, "Ladies, come on, I'm not that good looking." And then he just sits down, and then he kind of like smiles like Kagome and Melissa, and just says, "I'm glad you two are here. It's gonna be a lot more fun with you guys around." As he just smiles, as their faces go red, and everyone else, like all the other girls, are Raka. Now she did introduce herself, so yeah. So after a little bit of talking, Aizawa gets up as he says, "Alright everyone, I'm Aizawa, your homeroom teacher, and my pro hero name is called Eraserhead. My quirk allows me to erase your quirk for a period of time. So, I need you all to get into these costumes, because, one, I do not do things like normal teachers, and two, this is not a normal school. We have no time for assemblies, so please do this." As Deku gets up immediately, walks over, grabs his uniform, his gym uniform, as then he tells Melissa and Kagome to do exactly the same thing. As Deku then just waits for them as they do, as he tells them to put their hands on his shoulder, as they do with a little bit of blush to them, as Aizawa goes, "What are you gonna do?" He goes, "Oh, you'll see." As then he just teleports away over to the locker room. Because he saw the map, he saw what the locker room was, as he has a good idea of where it was, as he looks and he sees the girls' locker room and the boys. He goes, "Oh, that's perfect. Alright, so, here we are." As they both look at him in shock and just say, in amazement, they say, "Wow, we didn't know you could do that." He goes, "I figured I could do it. It's a lot more easier than walking sometimes. But it does put somewhat of a hassle on me." As they go, huh? It was like, well, it's a teleportation, but it's kind of a little bit difficult. You have to know exactly the area, and you have to concentrate on it. So it takes some mental focus. As they go, oh, as they could just flat out like kind of lied a little. Like he didn't. Nah, he didn't lie. Just basically told the truth. So he just says, "I'm gonna go change into my sports gear." So yeah. So when he's like changing, he's thinking about like Bakugou, how he's acting. But then after when he gets done, Kirishima does see him when they walked in, and he's basically just put on the shirt. So he does ask Midoriya, saying like, "What type of workout do you do?" I think he just says he just works out 3 days, maybe not 3 days, 3 hours, and that's it. And he just in space push-ups, sit-ups, multiple different like styles like of crunches, planking. He does. And so on and so forth. He does it all physical, no machinery. He goes, oh, that's cool. He goes, yeah. So he walks over to the door, but then he sees the hole. As he thinks, someone from the other years must have done this. When he walks over, he swipes his finger to the left. From left to right, as the hole closes all the way through. He goes, alright then. That should be good. So yeah, so when he does that, he walks out, he's the first one out there. As he tells Aizawa that he already knows he's gonna go first, how about he just throws the ball right now and then we can get over and done with. As Aizawa says, alright, so he lets Deku throw the ball. But Deku asks how far does he want it and how much strength. As he says, give him around like 50%. As Deku throws the ball at 50%, as with all his strength at 50 basically, if he did 100 the ball would have broke. So he does 50 as the ball goes into the atmosphere and into our space. As he says infinity, as everyone did already came out when after he threw it. As they heard he got infinity, it was in shock, and Bakugou was thinking, what's going on? How is that possible? As Dick is just thinking, wow, 50% of strength and that's it. So Deku just dominates every other, just dominates everything, even with Kirishima with the, All Might's quirks. So yeah, he wins. Bakugou doesn't freak out. As that happened. He just wins and all that. So everyone does kind of wonder about why the snake is with him. I didn't want to, I want to just get this way. As he just, Ida does go over to him and ask him, Emma's not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to bring, snakes into classes or school. As Deku just says, well, I created it with my quirk. My quirk is called Devil. I could do absolutely anything I want, and you're not the boss of me. So, yeah, don't act like you can do whatever you want. As Deku kind of walks away. Ida gets a little bit mad, but at the same time, he was kind of bossing Deku around, so he kind of thinks maybe he was being a little bit of a jerk, so yeah. Right, so, Deku just, after they get, Aizawa does tell everyone that they're not, gonna be in school until tomorrow, so you gotta go home or, do whatever you would do, and yeah, that's it. So, Melissa and Kagome ask Deku if he wants to go to the mall with them, and he says sure. So he goes over, he does, find... No, that wouldn't work. He does tell them he has to go somewhere first. So yeah. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna have to do it. I meant to do it this one. So when what he does, he has to go over to a bank because he doesn't have no money on him. So because Lucifer just told him right when they asked him that he's gonna have to go to a bank, to the specific bank. So Deku goes over there immediately after school. when he goes up to the bank teller, as he tells him, "I'm looking for the manager of this fine establishment." As he goes, "Who are you?" And he goes, "Izuku Midoriya." As the bank teller looks over at him, and he goes, "Oh, Izuku, all right, come follow me." As basically he takes him to the manager. As the manager, welcomes Midoriya, well, as he welcomes Deku in, and he says, "Ah, Izuku Midoriya, please have a seat." As he, Deku's kind of a little bit, anxious and nervous a little because of this. Like, he never been into like a bank. So the bank teller just says, "I am Zero. My last name is Zero. And you just can call me that." He goes, "All right, you can call me Izuku." He goes, "All right, Izuku. I need to give you two things. One is the stuff for you, and another is the stuff for your mom." And she goes, "Stuff." He goes, "Bank card, checkbook, papers for an app to check out how much money you have in your bank account." As he goes, "Wait, I have a bank account?" He goes, "Let's set it up for you and your mother." As these cards, allow you to just basically put it. You don't have to have like no number code to it. You just put it in, and then you can just take it out, take out money, whatever, how much you want. He goes, "All right." As then he asks, "How much do I have?" As he basically opens up the checkbook for Midoriya, as he sees billions of yen. As he goes, "I'm a billionaire?" He goes, "Not just you, your mother." As he goes, "What?" Yes, hey, I was about to say something else. "Lucifer thought it would be a good idea if you had this, both of you, and as a thank you for doing this for you, Zuku." This is his way of saying thank you for him. A thank you from him for basically doing this for him. And he goes, "No problem." And reason why for my mother, he goes, "Oh, just because your mom is a wonderful person, and it seems like your father is not around." As Lucifer is with him. As Deku says, "He hasn't been around all my life, so I don't really care about him." As he goes, "Oh, my apologies. I didn't mean to bring up bad memories." As Izuku says, "Don't worry about it. It's over and done with." So yeah. So Lucifer says, "Okay, whoever his father is, he's gonna pay." And it is Hasashi, and it's not, all for one. One. So yeah, so after that, Deku goes home. He tells his mom about it. He gives her the checkbook, the checkbook, the bank book. The book that allows you, to keep how much money you have in the book, in your account for the bank, a balance book, and the debit card. Not the debit card, the bank card. As she asks how much, as she looks into the check, not the checkbook, I had it, balance book. As she is shocked to see how much money she has. As Deku, tells her that we're gonna have to be careful with this. We can't go overboard. We can't let people know. As she agrees. So yeah. So Deku changes. He goes over to the mall. Melissa, go hang out. Deku goes into an electronics store. He finds two junk computers, and then he goes over to a repair shop as he buys tools to repair his computer, and he buys in an electronics store some parts for the computers that would make the processing run smoother and everything else. So motherboard, circuit boards, processing speed, everything else like that. So, yep. As then, after that, he does say goodbye to them. He goes home. He tells his mom about it. As he basically bought these two computers and all this stuff. As basically he says he's gonna watch a couple of videos and then he'll come down to eat. And yeah, so he watches videos. He comes down to eat, and basically he after eating he goes straight to work. As basically Deku has set up his computer to be able to go onto the dark web, to then go onto Emily's shop to order items off of it, and that it also has like a non-traceable connection to the Wi-Fi and all that and such. Like he'll be able to play multiple things on it. He'll be able to do whatever work he needs to do, and or search up the process screens like high. And let's just say he even has like his automatic like opens up, the computer goes on, and then it's just like it doesn't need a password. It has facial recognition that can tell whose emotions, how they're feeling. So yeah. And that took him all the way to 12, so after dinner is around like 7 he started. It took him about 8 9 to get done, then it took him around 12, so he goes to bed afterwards and he wakes up. He looks at the computer, he's feeling he needs to add a little bit more stuff to it for his own, but his mom is perfect. So he gets ready for school and all that, but he does give his mom the computer. And she goes, huh? He goes, I bought it and I fixed it up last night. And she goes, I thought you were joking. He goes, yeah, I don't joke around, Mom. And she just starts saying thank you to him, and that's where, basically she's like, did not figure that out. She basically tells her what he can do with his, but he does tell her that he can go on the dark web without having a trace on it. That way he can go into Emily's shop and she can buy stuff from her without going to the actual shop if he feels like it. But he does even say that he can basically put it on a drawing pad, so that wherever he draws, it'll be like on the software that he's using for the drawing pad for. She's pretty amazed by it. He says thank you, and yeah. So that's where I'm gonna leave it off, everyone. I wanted to make this longer, but I want to get some other videos out or record other videos. So yeah, I do hope you guys enjoyed this video and all that. Sorry there was no fight, but I just wanted to get this video out so I can work on others. Really, I'm terribly sorry. I do hope you guys enjoy it. Have a nice day or night wherever you are. Bye, everyone.